Welcome, everybody. This is Conscious Radio. We are here with Rane Raps.
Hey, hey, hey.
Thank you so much for being with me on this beautiful night.
Of course.
I know you've been on SoCal Radio before. This is your first time with Conscious Radio. I'm your host, Abby Moreno. And Rane, we're going to go into a little game. We're going to be deconstructing some of your lyrics.
Okay.
Because that's what stood out to me the most is your lyrics specifically.
Okay.
So let's talk about Desperate Desires.
Alrighty.
Yeah. First off, in your humble opinion, what is a desperate desire?
So really, there's two things, at least when I wrote the song. It was my first solo rap song, so it was kind of the leap as into, I'm really a rapper, so I need to commit to this and do it right. So in the instance of a desperate desire, it's really about doing something that either voids who you are as a person or your brand, and really like getting caught up in wanting success or money or something so much that you become desperate for that actual desire.
And you lose yourself a little bit within that.
Precisely. And it's really just a reminder. Sometimes I'll go back and listen to it, whether like say a person with a brand that might be a little misogynistic, for example, or promote drugs, etc., in ways that I understand would compromise who I am as a person and how people perceive me artistically. It just helps guide me when I don't have anyone else there to mentor me, and steer away from, I guess, things that would take away from
all the darkness.
Precisely.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in that song you talk about karma. Am I correct? Okay, and you refer to her as Dear Miss Karma, so female.
Yes.
She's a woman. Karma's a woman, which I feel a lot of people play into that image that Karma is a woman, and you're speaking to her, you ask her to let you in, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in that specific lyric, first, why is Karma a woman? Second, what did you mean by letting you in? Go ahead.
I'd say Karma is a woman because I understand women always keep it real at the end of the day. And so I can always depend on a woman like to just tell me the truth, whether it's going to hurt my feelings or make me feel like the coolest person in the world. So just because of that, like Karma is going to be a woman. But that being said, pretty much I just imagine Karma to really be, I guess, like an energy that rides throughout people's relationships and just kind of helps govern the world in a way. And it can be the most positive thing or the most negative thing that you have. And really for everyone, as long as I guess they exude a positive energy or aura about themselves, it's a way to like recollect that energy or that positivity that you put out, and I guess take it and run with it, and it aids you in whatever path you choose.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said, or I guess I didn't really ask, but karma to you as a definition, because a lot of people think, if I do something bad to that person, it's going to come around and that's going to happen to me. Do you have the same perception of what karma is? Yeah.
I definitely try to always do the right thing. Of course, I'm human, so I can't. But I definitely try to think twice or three times before I do something, because I know that many a time things have come to bite me in my butt. So yeah, I just understand that stuff like I've been having the worst days ever, and someone just asked me, truly, how are you? Or they just smiled, and it just allowed me to reevaluate what I do have in that moment. And it helped me to break out of that funk. And then I just wanted to do something nice for someone else. Like the other night, actually a friend paid for my dinner, and then I went out with a friend, and I paid for hers. It was just something that was there, and I was like, I didn't expect that, and I just felt good, and it allowed me to like really understand like our relationship was real tight, you know what I mean? And I was like, by extension of that, I just want to use this action to remind you that like I really care about you,
and you're balancing each other out, which is the way it should be.
Exactly.
One of the things that I really love about your music in general is that I feel like you have incorporated so many different genres, so many different styles, through listening as a listener and as well as you as a person as aesthetic. And I feel someone like that who can pull that off, number one. And number two, is just have all these different tastes and all these different outlets, really understands who they are and has a good idea of who they are. Do you agree with that?
Yes. I definitely say, really, at the end of the day, like, my music for me is a way of self-growth. Like, granted, you know, I'll always pick up the phone, I always text my friends, I'll even read books, for example. But I don't necessarily meditate and just try to clear my mind. So music is the way that I do that. And that just allows me to know, like, oh, I would have never said this 6 months ago because I didn't go through that experience. And now, having lived a portion of that life, I can actually discuss these things in my music, or I can see myself becoming more faithful in the sense of religion or spirituality, or I'm becoming a better friend, and now I want to let my friends know. They'll hear something in the song and they'll know that I'm specifically referencing them.
Right. Because I've heard you speak to, you know, about relationships, about society. There's all these different topics that you bring up within your music.
Yes.
So just going off of that, of knowing who you are, when was a moment in your life where you realized and understood who you are? Was there a specific event that happened? For example, some people just have epiphanies within their childhood, something to do with their parents, and they just kind of have more of an idea of who they are and who they might become. Yeah.
So there's two moments specifically. So before I even knew what this world was, so actually, like, during my birth, not even to go into any crazy
like the day
details.
that you were born?
Yeah. Like actually, like, from the first moment, I was like, but yeah, so it was an interesting time because it was very high risk. I was born with a heart murmur. So just to, like, kind of give you context. And so it was just a lot of complications going on with my birth. And of course, I was affected by it greatly, as well as my mother. So getting older, my dad finally felt like, oh, you're old enough to really understand how you came into this world. So he sent me down and explained, like, a lot of what he was going through, how he felt, what he was going to do after that if things did truly continue to go worse. And then he really, like, he calls me Champ. So people either call me by my government name, Clifford, or CJ. And he's the only person that calls me Champ. And he was like, well, you survived that, and, like, I just want to call you Champ because I feel like you can do anything in this world. And so that really told me that, wow, like, my dad believes in me. Like, I can do anything I want.
And then, it's, sorry, not to cut you off, but it's fine. Interesting how those lessons can happen. On early on, like you said, just the first day you were born, it was already happened. Like, here's your first lesson.
Precisely.
What was the second?
And the second was where I found my artistic voice. It was when I wrote "You Thought Wrong." And I remember being in my room, and I was going through, like, the transition of out of a relationship. Like, I could tell that we were getting to that final point where we were just gonna go our separate ways. And so there was the first line. It was inspired by that, like, you must have not known you had a brother with some soul. And I was just like, this is what I live for. Like, I always wanted to just be, like, really gritty, like, really kind of funky and something like that. And I just kept writing. I was in the zone, and I was like, man, like, this is something, like, I've never heard. And it's like, it's not rap, it's not funk, it's not soul, it's all of that. And then when people hear it, they're gonna know, like, this is Rane Raps. You feel me? Because I just remember, like, the endorphin overload, and I looked at myself in the mirror like, yes, like, this is it. So that was definitely the second moment. But from then, I've just, like, taken that mood and that vibe and tried to inject it into every other song.
So like I said before, all your songs are kind of different from one another. Definitely funk, soul, sometimes even just rap by itself. What is the most, I think, or what is song in your opinion is the most different song, or maybe not as common as you normally would hear with Rane Raps?
Okay. Lyrically, okay, because it's kind of a toss-up because it can go either way. But I would say, actually, my most recent Just About single, All My Worries, just because, like, the sound is very electronic, and it doesn't necessarily lend itself to hip-hop. So, like, you hear a guy called Rane Raps, you're like, what is he doing rapping over, like, piano chords that sound like they come out of, like, a niche club environment or something, you know? And it was just one of those things where I was like, wow, like I could still turn this into who I am at the end of the day, but I can also access not only a different market, but a different like kind of inspiration that I didn't even know that I would have inside of me.
Right.
So yeah,
awesome.
I'd definitely say all my words.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience where they can find you, any upcoming projects? Are you performing anywhere that we need to know about?
Yes, actually I am performing a lot this coming February, 4 times precisely. So definitely check me out on Instagram, because that's where you'll find out about those shows. So you could just go to Instagram/Rane Raps. That's RANERAPS. SoundCloud, that's where most of my music is. SoundCloud.com/RANERAPS. I have a website, raneraps.com. You can follow me on Twitter. But if you are in the LA area, you want to see me perform, definitely check me out on, what is it, February 20th at Bananas. That's in Leimert Park. So look out for that info. The 24th at No Breaks. I'll put up info soon where you can buy tickets, and I'll let you guys know the final details for the other 2 shows. But yeah, it's going to be a busy month.
Well, thank you so much for coming on Conscious Radio. For our listeners,
thank you.
Rane Raps has performed live on SoCal Radio before, so check that out. He did do a live version of Perfect People, so It was awesome. But thank you again so much for coming on here, and we hope to see you soon.
You will.